Hello Year 8, it's time to go through your progress check for the first half term in drama. So if you could find your booklet please, and just as I've done here, turn to the page where we're going to go through each of our targets and how we have met them so far this term. As you know, you've been working towards these in every single drama lesson, and so today you're going to evidence what you've done in order to achieve each target. We are going to start off with the first of our 4 targets, which is in the creating section, and that is focus. So can you please pop in September 2023 as your date that you began, and date of completion being October 2023. In the text box that starts with "this is my target because," you can either put in your own words here how you think focus is important for you in drama, or you can copy directly from the slide the sentence that says, "Working in a practical subject requires me to manage my focus independently." You can pause the video now to do that and then press play when you're ready to move on. Great. Okay, this is where we're going to do the most important part, where you are going to write down evidence and justify why you think you've met this target so far this term. So in a second, I need you to pause the video and write an example of how you've used focus in drama this half term. If you've given 100% focus, folks, please feel free to say so. This can be in rehearsal and in performance too. So consider all the lessons that you've been in and think about a time when you've shown great focus in drama. It's time to pause the video and press play when you're done and ready to move on. Fab, so we're ready to move on from our creating focus target now onto our performing target 1, which is character. So find that for me and meet me back here. So here we are looking at the character target for this term, and that is that you can stay in character when performing, creating a coherent and well-developed role. So again, if you pause the video to complete this, pop down those dates that are on the screen, and then if you are struggling to think of why creating a character and staying in character is important, you can copy down the sentence on the screen. And then as before, pause this video whilst you find an example and write down an example of when you have sustained a character in performance or rehearsal in the past half term. And meet me back here when you're done. Okay, so I think we've probably got the hang of this for now. So we're just going to flip over now from our performing targets to our responding targets. And as we know, the way that we evaluate and analyse the work of others is really going to impact the way that we successfully progress in drama. And this target is all about being a supportive and observant audience member in class. Now, once you have either written why this is your target in your own words or copied the phrase from the screen here, you will then want to pause the video and write down an example of something that you have learned or understood when watching other people in your class perform. And that can be something that you've got from the performance as in terms of a message, like you've learned about how to be empathetic, or you've learned about what it's like to be an asylum seeker, or it could also be how you could successfully use facial expressions to create a character, or it could be how you can successfully stay in character for the entire performance. So think back to all the performances you've watched and think of something that you've learned and observed that you think is important for your journey as a performer. Pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on. Okay, for our last progress check, we're going to go back to our creating targets and go to target 2, which is contributing. And that is all about you being able to give and contribute appropriate and imaginative ideas and rehearsing, but also listening to the ideas of others. So this is all about you being a really great group member. So what you'll need to do is pause the video after you've written in why this is important and think about a time when you personally have worked well in a group, and give me an example of what it is that you did that made you a good group member in that lesson. You know how this works by now, so pause the video and press play when you're ready to move on to setting our new targets for the next part of the term. And that is you done reflecting on the progress that you've made so far this term. If I agree that you've evidenced that you have done those targets, I will put a green sticker in those little circles next to where you've written your evidence down. So what we're now going to do is take a quick break, pause the video, and then come back when you're ready to set your targets for the next half term. Okay, so not moving too far along, we are now going to look at our targets coming up for the rest of this term. We're looking at target 3 in the same creating page, and we're going to look at working sensitively and cooperatively with any member of the group. Now it says here October 2023 is our start date, but since we're in November, let's pop November 2023 down, followed by either in your own words or using the phrase on the screen why you think that target is important for drama. And that is all you need to do for that particular target, because we've not completed it yet. That's something we're going to do over the next 6 to 8 weeks. And then in a similar way, you'll also see that we're going to be looking in the next term at voice. So all about choosing and maintaining appropriate vocal skills in performance. So if you could copy down why that is important for you as a performer too. And then also on that same performing page, we're looking at movement as well. So our physical skills that we've talked about, and how we can use both our physical and vocal skills to create a great character for performance in the next term. So pause the video and complete those two on your performing page before turning over for the very last one before we finish for today. Our last target that we're going to be looking at in the next couple of weeks is language, and that's in our responding part of our target setting booklet. We're going to be looking at using drama language confidently and appropriately to make connections between performances. So that is all about when you're feeding back to your peers, when you're feeding back to me and looking at your own work too, can you successfully think about the work that you've done and the decisions that you've made and tell me why you did that, and why another person in your class was successful when they did that. And so that's what we're looking at for the next half term. That's it for our half-term progress check. I'm really looking forward to reading through these and seeing the evidence that you've put there and popping those green stickers on to show you that you've achieved those targets so far. The next part of the video is just to talk you through a little bit about what's in your booklet that you might not yet have seen, that might just give you something extra to look at in terms of drama. So do have a quick watch of that, and I will see you next lesson. Now that you have finished that, if you turn to the very next page, you will see Inspiring Women in Theatre, which is a page that I've put together all about different women in history and in present day that are doing really great things in theatre. And if you do have access to a phone or a tablet that can read QR codes, please do have a look at these. And this is not part of your homework, but this is just things that I've included in the booklet to give you a more well-rounded view of the world of theatre, especially your place within it as a young girl. And hopefully in things that you could aspire to do in the future. So there are other sections of this booklet that you might find interesting, and especially when it comes to your physical and vocal skills and your revision for future quizzes, you might find these places a really great place to look when it comes to revising for those quizzes. So please do have a look through this at your leisure, but make sure you bring your booklet back next lesson. All right, girls, see you next lesson.